everybody, I thought I would get on here today and talk about everything that I grew in 2025 and what it produced for me so that I could feed my family throughout the winter. I say the winter, but I also mean like fresh eating in the summer, fall, winter, and then spring. So in 2025, I grew quite a lot. We're a family of 3, but I grow more like we're a family of 10. To be honest with you. I'm gonna go through the list of the things that I planted and grew in 2025 and then what I'm gonna be doing in 2026, like if any of those things are different. If they're the same, I'll let you know the same thing. So starting off strong in 2025, I planted 100 heads of garlic and we got about 95 or 96 heads of garlic from that. In that same bed, once the garlic was harvested, I planted 2 or 3 packs of Danvers carrot, which is a carrot seed that I get from Seed Savers Exchange. And that was probably like 100 carrots. And then I also succession planted butternut squash, which did pretty okay. I think it was a little late in the season, but I really just wanted to fill that area with something. I think I got maybe like 5 or 6 butternut squash by the end of it. In the bed next to that, and I'll try to kind of put up videos and stuff so you can kind of see the space that I'm working with. In the bed next to that, I did about 115, maybe a little bit more onions of red, white, and yellow variety. And I harvested pretty much like 100, 110. I think they all survived, just obviously varying sizes. And both the garlic and the onions I cure in my garage. My husband built me a nice big curing rack. So when the garlic is ready, I take those out. I let them cure on that rack in the garage, and then I bring them inside and put them in the pantry. Onions are the same thing. Once those are ready, they're usually ready a little bit after the garlic, if I'm remembering correctly. That's fine, whatever. I let them cure on there, and then I bring them inside as well into the pantry. In that same bed with the onions, after they came out, I succession planted green beans and more carrots because we really love carrots in this house. So overall, there's gonna be a few areas in the garden that I talk about carrots that I grew. I probably planted about 300 carrots. So we'll just get carrots out of the way. I grew about 300 carrots, and I still almost think I probably will plant the same amount or more this year. For the onions and garlic, that's a good amount for us. That makes sense for us. If anything, maybe too many onions, definitely not too many garlic, but maybe too many onions, but that's okay. I also use the garlic to replant. So I only keep about 80 heads for myself, and then the rest of the cloves go back into the garden to grow next year's crop. In the bed behind the garlic, I planted 15 tomato plants. So I did 3 cherry, 3 Roma, a German variety, 3 of the German variety, and then 6 beefsteaks in that bed. And there's a couple of other areas that I planted tomatoes. I'll get to those in a second, but even with the other areas, I'm probably gonna plant more tomatoes this year because I want to get a little more creative with what I do with them. So instead of the 15 plus, I think there were 6 in the front yard, so say 21, I'll probably plant closer to 25 tomato plants in 2026. That's because I want more of the cherry and more of the German variety. I really liked those. I love beefsteaks, they do a really good job, but I want more of those other varieties as well. In the bed across from the tomatoes, I did 21 pepper plants. I did 3 of each variety, so 7 varieties. And in that bed, I did more peppers as well. I'll get to that in a second. Ranging from like a very hot, habanero, jalapeno, cayenne pepper, all the way down to like a green pepper, very mild. I also do a pepper called Corno di Toro. I don't even know, it's very sweet and mild. I get it from a nursery nearby. They have it every year. It is the coolest pepper. I love that pepper, and it's very high producing. So I will probably continue to buy that from them. But I bought a lot of pepper seeds this year. So I'm hoping to start a lot more peppers from seed this year and not purchase from the nursery. But knowing me, I'll probably still purchase from the nursery and then find a place to put them. But anyway, those worked out really nicely. I will probably plant the same amount, maybe a little bit more, but that amount was actually really, really good for us. Family of 3, froze a lot of them, mixed them into different things, a lot of fresh eating. I love eating peppers fresh from the garden. I just cut them up and that's like my daily snack, so love that. On the trellis between those 2 beds, I had butternut squash, cucumber, and scarlet runner beans. Scarlet runner beans are one of my favorite things to grow. I just think they're gorgeous. I'll put a picture in here so you can see what it looks like at like full full bloom, full production. So gorgeous. It attracts so many bees and hummingbirds and just all kinds of, awesome butterflies, everything, because they have those really vibrant pink flowers and they just go crazy for it. Butternut squash did really good there. I only planted about 4 to 6 of those, not including the ones that were in the garlic bed after I pulled the garlic out. I think I'm gonna do more like 10 to 12 this year because we really like butternut squash in the fall and in the winter, and we use it in a lot of different ways. So I'm definitely gonna plant more like 10 to 12 this year for us. And that just makes sense for us with the yield that I'm looking for. Moving across the yard to the other 2 garden beds that I have and second trellis, I did an exclusive bean bed. So I did an entire row of chickpeas, an entire row of pinto beans, 2 rows of tiger's eye beans. I did plant celery in there at some point. I think it was like closer to the middle end of the season. I think I did like 6 celery plants. And then on the trellis, I did scarlet runner beans again. That bean bed was a little experimental for me because I haven't grown that many beans and I wasn't really into doing a lot of dried beans. Everything changed for me this year with that. I am so into growing beans. I've purchased so much more. So I'm actually creating an entire new section in the front yard to dedicate to growing a lot of beans. So 2026 will be the year of the bean for me, I think. I'm very excited about that. Good yield overall from a 6x10 bed. Not a very big bed, but I got 6 chili and soup dinners out of those beans. So very happy with the yield on that. Like that's pretty good for, a small amount of beans. In the bed across from that, I did 100 shallots, I think it was, or maybe it was 50 shallots. They did not do very well. And I think that was user error. I think that was on me, and that's okay. I'm gonna try again with shallots this year. The reason I wanna try to grow shallots is because I just really like their flavor and I really like how aromatic they are when cooking. And they just have a stronger flavor to me and a little bit of a unique flavor in comparison to using onions when it comes to sauteing things. So I'm gonna try that again. Did not get many of those and was a little disappointed in that, but we'll be okay. Behind that, I did 8 or 10 King of the North peppers, which is just a really dark green pepper in my opinion. It doesn't have much spice. It's very, very mild, and that did really good. I will definitely plant those again. King of the North is one of my favorite peppers, again from Seed Savers Exchange, so I will definitely be growing that and probably just the same amount again because the yield is really good on those. And behind those I did more carrots. I also forgot over in the bean bed in the front, I did do 2 rows of radish. I mostly use the radish for fresh eating. I love radishes in like a salad or on like a toast with butter and some sea salt. Very good, but not really in the way of storing or preserving, just more of like a fresh eating thing. In the front yard garden, I have 3 beds and 2 barrels. The 2 barrels I did try to grow potatoes in this year. I am never growing potatoes in a barrel again. I've always grown them in the ground. I don't know what made me think put them in a barrel, but that was just really dumb. And I think I only did like 5 or 8 seed potatoes, maybe 8. Yeah. This year, same with the beans, I am dedicating an entire space in the front yard to growing as many potatoes as humanly possible. We are a potato family. We love eating potatoes. I've harvested somewhere between 45 and 75 pounds of potatoes every year for the last like 5 or 6 years, and last year was really sad. Having to buy potatoes is really upsetting because I know I can grow them, so I'm gonna get back to that, and I'm probably gonna plant about 20 to 25 seed potatoes in 2026. In the 2 beds up front, I planted 4 cantaloupe, 4 watermelon, and 4 pumpkin. Probably gonna do the same amount, maybe a little bit more of the cantaloupe, and maybe 1 or 2 more of the pumpkin. I really liked the pumpkin variety that we grew last year. We turned it into a pumpkin soup and it was really, really good. Probably stick with the same amount of the watermelon, but up the number of the cantaloupe and the pumpkin. In the middle bed between those 2, again, I'll try to show a picture without showing my address. I grew, again, another 2 rows of radish for fresh eating, and this was like closer to the fall. I did 3 rows of green beans, and I had some accidental sunflowers in there from the chicken manure, so that was pretty, for the front yard. I think people liked walking by and seeing those sunflowers. And a few more carrots. The carrots did not do very well in that bed. I don't think I have the soil quite right yet. I don't think I have it loose enough. I think it's a little compacted at the moment. It is a new bed, so I do have to do some some amending in there. But overall, that is everything that I planted. I do have perennials in the yard. I have 2 apple trees, 2 peach trees, a raspberry patch, a blackberry patch, an elderberry bush that is massive, and 4 grapevines. The grapevines produce perfectly. They produce so much. We get to make all of our grape jelly out of that. I've made grape juice, just anything you can think of with grapes, I've made it. The elderberries are awesome. I make elderberry shots, elderberry gummies, elderberry syrup. It's really awesome, very high producing, just 1 bush. That is all you need, I promise. And the raspberries always produce good. They're a very mature plant at this point. I've had them, gosh, I think 8 years now. The peach trees, we are still battling squirrels. We had quite a few good sized peaches on there last year. The year before that, we had, oh my God, 40 or 50 on the 1 tree. This year we're ready for them, so I'm excited. I really want to be able to harvest a lot of my own peaches and not have to purchase any to make my peach jalapeno jam. And the apple trees are still maturing. The apples are still pretty small on them. I think I planted them like 3 or 4 years ago, but they are producing. I'm just letting them get a little more mature before I start relying on them for harvests. Of course, we have the 15 chickens. We used to have 16, but we did lose 1 this winter, which was pretty sad. But that is everything I grow in my backyard and raise because of the hens. And it never seems like enough. I don't know if we just eat too much. No, I don't think that's it. But we really, really enjoy growing a lot of our own food, and I'm excited for 2026 to kind of fine tune it a little bit more and get to that level that we want to be at, to be harvesting a lot of our own food and not having to go to the grocery store. So hopefully that helps you. If you're a family of 3 or 4, that might be really good numbers to go with if you're trying to build yourself up to being a little more self-sustaining and growing your own food. If you have more people in your family, I would definitely bump those numbers up. And if you have less than that, if it's just you and your partner, maybe you can do a little bit less, or, just scale down to things that you want to grow and grow more of them.